Good evening, Tallahassee, and welcome to your Thursday night edition of FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Chris Malve. We have a couple of cumulus clouds behind me, but it's looking pretty nice outside. We did have some showers and storms roll through the area a little bit earlier on today, and that's why in Tallahassee it's at 86, so a little bit cooler than what we've been seeing recently. But as you go further out to the east, it's going to be a little bit warmer, 90 degrees there in Live Oak. And as you can see on our radar, we still got some of those pop-up showers and thunderstorms down here in Carabel, as well as here in South Georgia near Valdosta. Now, for tonight's forecast, we're going to be dodging those hit or miss scattered showers and thunderstorms. We're going to be at 71 tonight, so pretty mild conditions to go around. But we're going to be keeping a close eye on Tropical Storm Humberto as it continues to really just churn and continues to encounter those warm Gulf waters. So on tonight's show, we're going to be tracking the tropics. You'll be also checking in on some rain chances, and of course, for your Thursday show, we got to talk about Thursday sports. All this and more on FSU Weather.
Good evening. Happy Friday Eve is the Thursday edition of FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Ryan Seeger.
And I'm student meteorologist Chris Malve.
You know what? It's Thursday or Friday Eve, and we've got rain on the radar. It's a miraculous sight. We haven't had rain at all in September. The last time it rained, if you remember, was during the Alabama FSU football game. We haven't had rain since then, and we finally got at least a couple drizzles of rain today. Not a lot, but
yeah, and I was honestly pretty excited to see that little lightning notification on my phone because honestly, we could really use the rain.
I took my umbrella out of my backpack finally. It got some use.
I know my umbrella's been sitting in the back of my car, and I'm definitely glad that it got to some good use today for sure.
So we're going to see more rain again tomorrow, but we're also going to be talking about the tropics a lot during tonight's show. We've got two systems we want to keep an eye on. We've got Humberto. We've also got Invest 94L, and that's going to be the one that I think could bring more impacts, at least to the east coast of Florida. Yeah,
so definitely something to keep an eye on, and of course we have that forecast here on FSU Weather. So Ryan, can you tell us a little bit more about what's going on in the tropics?
So that big blob over the Dominican Republic right now, that is Invest 94L. The hurricane hunters have actually been flying through there, trying to figure out what the conditions look like around there. All right, so this red X is kind of the center of circulation. It's going to be coming up this way into the Bahamas over the next couple of days' time. Now notice we've got an 80% chance over the next 2 days' time. That's going to be increasing to a 90% chance over the next couple of days' time. And this is where it is right here. This is by Saturday at 2 o'clock. It's going to be nearing the Bahamas. So there's Nassau. Here's the center of it. And it's going to be taking a close pass to the Bahamas as it works kind of up the east coast of Florida. It's going to be a couple hundred miles, possibly even closer off of the space coast of Florida. And then by Monday at about 11 o'clock, it's going to be starting to make a rush into Georgia, into the Carolinas. So it's going to be all the way from, I say, Jacksonville, all the way up through the Outer Banks of the Carolinas that want to be paying attention for some tropical weather. As we get into Tuesday morning, that's when it's going to start to make its approach somewhere into the Carolinas, maybe into the low country of Georgia. And that's going to be bringing a lot of rainfall into the plain or into the Appalachian Valley here, all the way from Charlotte up into Roanoke. We've also got the wind speeds to talk about. So notice a little bit sloppy as it gets into the Bahamas area, but then once it gets by the Bahamas, this is where it starts to get that eye going a little more, where it starts to tighten up, and then it really starts to bring in some stronger winds. We're talking possibly 50+ mile-per-hour winds. Could be tropical storm. We could be talking about a hurricane. Some of the computer models bring it to Category 1, Category 2 hurricane. Take a look at the spaghetti plots. I want to show you there's at least a decent bit of agreement on it. It kind of wants to keep it going into the Carolinas, but I want to show you elsewhere in the tropics. Tropical storm Humberto, 60 mile-per-hour winds, pressure about 1,000 millibars. This is expected to become a hurricane tomorrow, but for right now, no impacts expected to land. It's going to stay kind of well off to the east of this Invest 94 path. So where are we at so far in the tropics this season? We've got all the way through Humberto, the next name on the list, assuming that that Invest 94 gets named here in the next couple of days. That would take on the name Imelda. We're still kind of not well through the names so far this year. It's kind of been a slow start to the hurricane season, Chris, but we're going to be talking a lot more about the local area and get that forecast, because I don't think we have a lot of tropical impacts, right?
Yeah, and that's really the good news here, especially in Tallahassee. We have some pretty nice conditions to go around. Like I said before, 86 degrees, but when you factor in that humidity, it feels like 94 out there. So still a little bit on the toasty side of things, especially now that we're into that fall season. 80s and 90s really just all across the board. Now for our radar, we do have a couple of those pop-up showers and thunderstorms across the area. Now we're going to zoom on in here to southern Georgia, where we do have some of those showers and storms just north of, or really to the west of I-75. So some heavier downpours right here and over near Barney as well, getting in on some of those heavy rain and some occasional downpours as well. So for the next 12 hours, we're going to see those storms kind of begin to dry out. Once we get to 11 o'clock, we're going to be left with just a lot of cloud cover, really just going into tomorrow morning, but we'll get down to about 72 degrees. But speaking of all that rain, you can get some pretty good rain chances, especially as we head into school tomorrow morning. So the roads might be a little bit wet, but really mostly just cloud cover right here. But you're going to want to really hold on to that umbrella, as we're going to still see those clouds moving through, especially off towards Apalachicola and a little bit further to the west. Still have those showers associated with a cold front that are really just going to be continuing to move through the Florida Big Bend, and then by Saturday, those clouds will begin to clear out a little bit. But for tonight's forecast, again, could be dodging some of those showers and storms. Pretty mild conditions at 71. And that's kind of the same story really all across the board. A little bit more stormy conditions down in Carabel and even in Apalachicola. And when you go into Georgia, Bainbridge 73, but still dealing with a little bit of rain there. But a little bit drier as you go to the east. But as you plan your day tomorrow, you're going to really want that umbrella. And that's kind of the main theme. You know, these past couple days we've been talking about how it's been so warm and dry, but now we finally have some rain to talk about. So make sure to keep that umbrella on hand. Maybe even bring a pair of rain boots. I don't like when my sneakers get really soggy. So make sure to just plan accordingly for that rain tomorrow. But for tomorrow afternoon, you can really just expect some of those thunderstorms that we're going to be experiencing tomorrow. As you can see, our rain chances are quite elevated for tomorrow, 70% there, but our rain chances are going to continue to kind of taper off a little bit as we go throughout the rest of the week. Your 7-day forecast, bit of a better rain chance for this weekend. Those showers and storms should clear out, and then for the rest of next week, we're kind of left with those 90s and 80s kind of across the board, but still keeping an eye on the tropics. But Ryan, can you tell me what is going on in the rest of Florida?
Yeah, so the rest of Florida is going to look a little different than normal. Usually, most of Florida, we're pretty similar in way of weather, and now that we've got Invest 94 going to make a close approach, it's going to kind of change our forecast up a little bit. So Panama City Beach, we're not worried about the tropics. Same with here in Tallahassee. But maybe Orlando, and especially along the Space Coast down towards Miami as well, that's where we're going to want to pay a little more attention to the tropics. But Panama City Beach, Tampa, we're not too worried about tropics. We've got some clear skies right now for most of us. Orlando seeing a couple of showers and storms, same with West Palm and down towards Miami. Most of us sitting in the upper 80s though. So take a look at satellite and radar. So not any storms directly over Miami right now, but as we head towards Alligator Alley along I-75, you know, there's a couple of showers and storms there up towards southwest Florida as well. And then into the I-4 corridor as well, getting into Orlando, getting that sea breeze showers and thunderstorms going. Going to be through Orange, Seminole, working its way into Brevard and Volusia County, some heavier showers and storms. As we head towards the next couple of days, we kind of keep some of the rain chances around. We're going to tomorrow again see our typical afternoon showers and thunderstorms. We're also going to be tracking this cold front as it works its way in. That's going to bring us here in the Panhandle some higher rain chances over the next couple of days' time. And it's also going to be where we kind of start paying attention to where it will likely be Imelda ends up going. So take a look at this. So you can kind of see there in the Bahamas, that's Imelda. We're going to be keeping an eye on how much rainfall comes into Florida over the next couple of days' time. So notice in Miami, Saturday, Sunday, elevated rain chances because we're dealing with that tropical threat. But then as we move up towards Tampa, our rain chances stay a little bit lower, especially on Sunday, being quite warm. I'm not sure if the Bucs are in town this weekend, but it is going to be a warm day out in Tampa on Sunday, 91 degrees. Over in Orlando, if you're heading out to the theme parks, it's going to be another hot stretch of weather. Keeping our rain chances on the lower side, 92, 90, 89 degrees. And up in Jacksonville, going to be a hot Friday for you. We get a little bit of relief with that cold front on Saturday, and then into Sunday, temperatures start to warm back up again. And if you're heading out to the beaches in Pensacola, It's going to be hot once again. Friday all the way through Sunday, we keep the rain chances lower, and it gets really, really hot. Tonight in Florida, a lot of us getting into the 70s, clear skies for most of us, maybe a straight shower or thunderstorm. And then as we head out the door tomorrow, it's going to be in the panhandle into the Big Bend that we start to see some of the front showers and storms get going. And it's also going to be our typical afternoon showers and thunderstorms for the rest of the state. But Chris, how's the rest of the southeast looking? Going to be getting ready for that possible tropical storm.
Yeah, that's right. But right now, pretty mild conditions to go around. Just a few passing clouds, but not a whole lot of rain on our cameras right now, but still 79 over in New Orleans. Same here in Nashville. So pretty nice over there. A little bit cooler than what we're seeing here, especially in sunny Florida. Now looking all across our map, 80s, some spots even hitting 90 over in Jacksonville. Florida's seeing those pretty typical warm temperatures for this time of year. But over in Little Rock, it's a little bit cooler for you folks, 77 degrees there. Now, a big story on our radar right now is this cold front that's going to continue to push over to the east and bring some greater rain chances really all across the southeast. You can kind of see our pocket of rain right here, especially to the east of Atlanta. That's going to continue moving on over, and honestly, that rain that we're seeing is very much needed, as we're seeing over in Memphis. Pretty extreme drought conditions, so that rain's definitely going to help us out a bit, and hopefully we don't see much more of these bright red colors. Now, for all that rain, it's going to continue to move off to the east. Could impact some parts of Florida, and even up to Virginia can get some of that rain, and really just some cloud cover to start your Saturday morning. And then as we continue to move forward, still got some rain here, but notice this, folks. Here is what could become Imelda. So bottom line is, the Atlantic seaboard really just needs to keep an eye on this system. Much of the models are projecting this will go into the Carolinas, but still there's several factors at play that we'll really need to keep an eye on. But for tonight's forecast, we're going to be hitting 63 in Little Rock, so a little bit cooler than I guess what we're used to, but 63 as well there in Nashville. For tomorrow's forecast, we're going to kind of warm up again, but notice as that rain continues to push through, it's going to be a little bit stormy there in Tallahassee, and even in Charleston. Could be seeing some rain there and staying at 90 degrees. But we're going to hop around to some of our spotlight cities in the southeast. Birmingham, Alabama, pretty decent rain chances going into Friday. You're going to warm up a little bit by Sunday and even into Monday, getting to almost 90 degrees to start out your work week. Over in Charlotte as well, you'll be experiencing some bigger rain chances, especially going into Saturday as that front continues to push through. And Monday, with that system rolling through, we're going to have to keep an eye on, even for some risks of flash flooding. Over in New Orleans, going to be pretty toasty this weekend, especially going to be near 90 degrees, and we should be getting around there by Monday. So looks like an absolutely gorgeous weekend in New Orleans. But over in Nashville, also looks quite pleasant. 80s, really either side of 80 degrees. So looks to be a very nice weekend if you are heading out there. For Memphis, Tennessee, very similar story, just sunshine all around. And if you're going to be heading to my hometown of Tampa, Florida, still going to be keeping an eye out for those showers and storms as that kind of pushes through from that front. And then we should begin to clear out by early next week. But Ryan, can you give us a better idea of what's going on for other parts of the country?
Yeah, a lot of the country, we're above average in wave temperature. So I want to take you out to Glendale, 106 degrees. This is just outside of Phoenix. 106 degrees, Las Vegas. We're still sitting at 93 degrees this afternoon. Take a look up towards Seattle, typical clouds, 62 degrees. And also along the East Coast, 74 in Chicago. So unseasonably warm for a lot of us. But we are dealing with that cold front pushing, notice all the way from Quebec all the way through the East Coast. Going to be pushing down into the Gulf of America there. So we've got a couple areas we want to watch for flooding. It's going to be along this East Coast here, Atlanta, Tallahassee, Miami, up into the Carolinas, Virginia as well. But also we're still dealing with some of the flow off the Pacific that's going to create a marginal risk for severe storms tomorrow out in Arizona. As we head into day 3 Saturday, kind of keeping it around as we've got the, I'm forgetting the word of it, we've just got a lot of moisture coming in from the Pacific. That monsoon, that's the word I was looking for. The monsoon is still active out there. And then along the East Coast, as that front kind of stalls out, might see a stray stronger storm. But we want to keep our eyes out for flooding. I want to kind of paint the picture that We're going to have this cold front bring a lot of rain into the Carolinas. And then after that, as we end the Monday and Tuesdays, when we're going to be keeping an eye on the tropics. So we're going to see possibly a lot of rainfall from Georgia into the Carolinas and even up into Virginia, the nation's capital. So keep that in mind. We're also going to be, again, with that monsoonal pattern from Albuquerque towards Tucson, Phoenix, all the way up into Las Vegas. A lot of rainfall, and notice the West could really use it, especially along the New Mexico and Arizona line towards El Paso, major drought going on there. And then along the East Coast as well, a lot of the U.S. is in at least some sort of a drought, but it looks like we're starting to bring a little bit of relief to it, especially as tropics. So actually, tropical systems help droughts. That's part of why we need tropical systems to form, is we need to, balance out our rainfall, and tropical systems help do that. Temperature-wise, a lot of the nation's midsection is going to be above average as we get in the next week or so, 6 to 10 days. Along the East Coast, we kind of just stay towards average. So all the way up from Jacksonville, all the way up into Maine, going to be kind of towards average, but most of the U.S. hanging out above average. Tonight, 55 degrees in Minneapolis, getting down to 49 in Bismarck, 59 out in San Francisco as we head towards Tampa, 78 degrees, 66 over in Boston, and out the door tomorrow, 83 in the nation's capital, 81 in Atlanta. Going to be, again, dealing with those showers and storms along the East Coast, but a lot of the country has some pleasant weather ahead as that cold front passes through. But it's a Thursday. It's time for some sports. We've got Thursday night football tonight. We've got a lot of big sporting events this weekend, Chris.
That's right. So much going on. I mean, we've been talking all about tropics heating up, but my goodness, we got a lot going on in the world of sports. For your Thursday night football, the Seahawks are taking on the Cardinals, and they're playing in Arizona where it's 104 degrees. My goodness, I can't even imagine being on that field where it's 104 degrees, so it's definitely going to be hot. So something the Seahawks will hopefully have to get used to tonight. But your number 8 Florida State Seminoles are on the road this weekend. They're going to be at Virginia. We're going to be at 80 degrees by kickoff, and we'll kind of cool off into the low 70s by the end of the game. Another big matchup, Ohio State versus Washington. Going to be pretty overcast really throughout most of that game there. But we got a big SEC matchup. It's going to be very sunny over in Oxford, Mississippi, where the LSU Tigers will be playing Ole Miss. It's going to be 82 by the start of the game. Really just beautiful sunny skies throughout most of that game. So make sure if you're in the area, definitely go out and support your teams. Another big ranked matchup here, Alabama versus Georgia. Just a few clouds kind of passing through the area. We're going to start at 76. Should cool off to around 68, but definitely a big game there. Now, here is a top 10 matchup. Number 6, Oregon versus number 3, Penn State. Looks like we're going to be dealing with some rain chances, so definitely bring that poncho if you're going to that game. The Bucs are playing at home this weekend against the Eagles. Should be pretty nice. Warming up a bit, though, to 90 degrees. And for the Kansas City Chiefs, going to be another pretty warm game with just a few clouds, but should be some pretty nice conditions to go around. But, Ryan, if you're not going to any of these games, what could you do this weekend in Tallahassee?
It is going to be a nice weekend, Chris, because actually whatever becomes of this invest is going to pull a lot of moisture away from us. So we're going to be a little bit warmer, but there's not going to be a lot of rainfall to deal with. Tomorrow is going to be our rain day. So taking a look around town, Sportsplex is looking nice. We've got some puffy cumulus clouds off in the distance. St. George Island, that looks nice. I could sit out on the water, have a burger. That looks really nice. Off towards Panama City as well, Lake Bradford. What a nice day to be outside. St. George Island as well over at the lighthouse. Got some clouds in the distance, but for the most part, just partly cloudy, 87 degrees. Feels warm out there, though, 93 degrees, but we got a nice breeze at about 14 miles per hour. If you're heading out to Tom Brown Park tonight playing some pickleball, it's going to be a couple of hit or miss showers around 8 o'clock tonight, but the rest of the night is going to be cool, comfortable. It's going to be a nice night to be out and about. As we get later into the night again, dealing with a couple of hit or miss showers and storms, but they're not going to be too populated in nature. It might just impact your plans for a couple minutes, and then that shower or storm will move off for the rest of the night. Getting into the 70s into the overnight tonight, and you want to make sure that tomorrow you get out before the storms come through, because it's going to be kind of a tough day to get the dog out. 72 degrees at 7 a.m. tomorrow. As we get later into the afternoon, we start to crank up those shower and storm chances. So if you're heading out to the pool tomorrow, it's going to be a little bit of a rough day to do that, all right? It's an okay day. Around noon, maybe 3 o'clock, we increase the sunshine, but it's going to be a hit or miss afternoon of showers and storms going into the day tomorrow. If you're heading out to Panama City Beach tomorrow or into the weekend, it's going to be a nice time. Moderate risk for rip currents. Water temperature is still in the 80s, and even up in there, it'll be in the 80s as well. But if you're going out to the East Coast, you want to keep in mind that there's going to be the higher risk of rip currents because of the tropical system. You want to keep that in mind, as well as with airport travel delays. There probably won't be any in Tallahassee, but if you're heading up towards Atlanta, Charlotte, keep that in mind as the Invest or soon to be a Melta heads that way. So no delays this afternoon at Tallahassee, and then the rest there, the only city we want to pay attention to, Orlando, seeing our afternoon ground stops because of lightning and that nature. So Friday is our rain day here in Tallahassee, and then we clear that out. We lower our rain chances, but we get the temperatures back into the upper 80s, getting into the 90s by Sunday, Chris. So I guess we get 1 day of temperature relief, right? We get Friday, which is a rain day, and then it's hot again.
Unfortunately, it's not really the type of forecast, I'm looking for. I mean, we just kicked off fall this week.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely, glad that we're cooling off, a little bit this weekend, but it just stinks because, it's
Mother
Fridays.
Nature. It's astronomical and meteorological fall. Get the memo. Pumpkin spice has been out for like 3 months already. Get the memo.
Yeah, like I've cheated. I've had a couple already, but now like we're in season, so like I should be able to.
It's beyond time to like if I want to put on a jacket or something. I don't want to be sweating all day. But anyway, I regress. Follow us on Twitter at FSU Weather. Maybe some cooler conditions will come that way.
Make sure to like us on Facebook at FSU Weather.
We're also on Instagram at FSU Weather.
Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at FSU Weather.
Yeah, we're live every night at 6 o'clock. We're also on TikTok, so follow us there as well. We'll leave you with one last look at the 7-day forecast. Enjoy the cooler weather tomorrow, but make sure to have that umbrella with you.